Our Chicago White Sox continue their rebuild or remodel or retool or whatever word Rick Hahn wishes to use. Are the White Sox done? And if not, who will be next? White Sox split with the Cleveland Guardians. They got some solid pitching efforts from Toussaint and Clevenger, but Kopech continues to spin his tires. Garrett Crochet wants in on the rotation, and attendance at 35th and Shields has understandably dropped off.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome back to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong, die-hard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Chicago White Sox taking on the Texas Rangers on Tuesday. Sox have not announced a starter. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. State of the Sox, 43 and 63, huh? Now they're back to 20 games under 500. Don't look now, but 11 games back in the AL Central. Since the last recording, the White Sox look a little different. Lance, Lynn, Joe Kelly, and Kendall Graveman have all been dealt. No surprises really there. That was rumored, that was speculated for quite some time, and it was official on Friday. A flurry of moves really for the White Sox. Thought there was going to be more on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Who knows? As I'm recording this right now, there could be a situation with the Milwaukee Brewers or the Miami Marlins, both teams kicking the tires on Tim Anderson and Eloy Jimenez and even Jake Berger. But as for right now, Lance Lynn, Joe Kelly, and Kendall Graveman, to my knowledge, and again, there'll probably be a few more before the impending trade deadline. So the White Sox now seem to be in search of a new culture and maybe a new way of doing things. Several intriguing prospects have come back to the White Sox, and an old friend has returned as well. We'll get into some of the details later in the episode. The Sox farm system has received a boost in their ranking, but I'm going to reserve the right to wait to get excited until I see results at the big league level. Remember this game from 2016, 2017, maybe 2018, really into everything that was coming back to the White Sox as they started that great rebuild. And hey, I bought into it, as I know so many people did. The Sox, picked a path, and look what they're doing, and all the hype, about the guys that they're getting back, all the people that are in the know. They know the prospects. They understand. They're scouted. Oh, these are can't miss. What the White Sox have got back. Oh, my goodness. This team is going to be a force. And it's all about development, right? And the Sox just do not develop players well. I don't know what the issue is. There seems to be a disconnect somewhere. The same folks have been around for such a long time. And, like these talented guys have come to the team, to the organization, and the development just kind of stops. And we don't get to see maybe the true potential. I don't know what's happening. All I can say is, we haven't seen the results we thought we were going to see. And I know it's not always a slam dunk. Absolutely. It is not a guarantee. Nothing is a guarantee. That's why if you still have your 2005 World Series hat or shirt, put it on every now and then. Okay. Because that actually happened. The Sox did win a World Series And if you were alive to see it and witness it, it was something special. Okay, nothing's guaranteed until it absolutely happens. So, I'm going to wait on some of these prospects. We'll get into the information, into the detail, but I can't get too excited right now. It happened already. It happened. I got super excited. I've just got to curb my enthusiasm. White Sox split their series with the Cleveland Guardians, games 2 and 3 of the series on Friday and Saturday. They were good ones for the White Sox. They played well on Saturday, and it looked like they were actually having some fun. TA, how about it? TA hit his first home run of the season, first home run well over a calendar year. You could tell there was some relief from him, and the dugout had a good time with that. Jake Berger and Luis Robert Jr. continued to smash the baseball. Vaughn launched his first home run in a while. Touki Toussaint, he looked good on Friday. 5 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts. I have a feeling the Sox will try to keep him around, and he could definitely be in the 2024 rotation. We need arms. We need big league arms. And if Rick Hahn, if you're going to believe anything Rick Hahn says, which I would caution you, but, you do you. If you're going to believe him that the Sox, are looking to be competitive maybe in 2024, that they might have a chance to field a competitive team, who is going to throw? What's your rotation going to look like? You have to have well above average pitching, especially with the track record of this offense. So I guess I have a feeling Tuki's going to be in that rotation. Clevenger, a guy that maybe do the Sox try to bring back Clevenger? I don't know about that. I'm not as sure about that as I am about the Touki Toussaint stuff. But Clevenger returned. He pitched on Saturday, 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, which was impressive, and 3 strikeouts. Now, Michael Kopech, the guy that, I was really hoping to see on Sunday, what does he have? Can he get something consistently going here? Especially as we are looking at what our rotation for 2024 is going to look like. I hope he is included in that. I mean, I just don't know what role he has on this White Sox team now. Kopech threw in the finale, and he did not impress. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. Jose Ramirez for Cleveland had a field day. It's the home runs and it is the walks for Michael Kopech over and over. As the Sox begin to rebuild or retool or remodel, whatever it is, one of the originals, from the great rebuild from the beginning here in the fall, December of 2016, Michael Kopech has yet to show he can be a reliable starter, and his command has been so inconsistent. I don't know if he can be trusted out of the bullpen. I feel like that's where a lot of folks want to put him. It's just, well, he's more of a bullpen guy. He's not a starter. We've had bullpen guys that come into the game and they can't throw a strike, and they're walking 2 guys, and then there's a big hit, and there goes a big inning. It's like, well, if he doesn't have any control, do you really want – I know he's got the velocity and he's got the potential. Do you really want him out of the bullpen if he can't figure it out and find the plate? This is per Vinny Duber of CHGO. Michael Kopech called his outing on Sunday pretty pathetic. When things aren't going well, it's a little hard to be joyful out there. Sometimes you go out there and try to take things lightly, and then a home run or 2 happens, and it's real easy to get frustrated again. Again and again and again. That is how it has been for Michael Kopech. This was Pedro Grifol after the game. We are going to put a roster to get together for next year. A lot of that starts right now. So we are going to do things a little different. We are looking for a different culture. At some point in that clubhouse, everybody in there, we are all getting evaluated. There's a direction that we want to go, and at times we don't show it out there. At times we do. We have to get consistent. This is a good opportunity for everyone to prove to themselves and this organization that they want to be a part of this thing moving forward. I got a feeling that there are some guys that don't want to be part of this thing moving forward. They're like, I don't trust this organization. I've seen this happen before. I'd like out now. Let me get to a winning culture. Let me get to a winning team. I want to taste the postseason. I don't have the stomach for this. There are young guys that are into it, like we saw in 2017, 2018. Ricky's boys don't quit. There are going to be guys that are going to be hustling, that are going to be trying to win a spot. Maybe that's good, but what's happening right now, the personnel on this club these next couple months, is that really what we're going to be seeing heading into spring training in 2024? Maybe, maybe. I mean, the track record of the White Sox doing a lot in the offseason is just not quite there. So maybe this is what we're going to see. Maybe some guys that we have acquired recently, some guys down on the farm, some new faces might emerge out of that field to add to this team. Whatever it is, it sounds like Pedro Grifol is going to have his fingerprints all over it. So whether we want Rick Hahn to be in charge or not, he is the person putting this remodel together. Whether we like Pedro Grifol or not, he is under contract for a couple of more years and may very well be given permission to redesign the culture and have a big say in what is on the field in 2024. Right now, the White Sox have only dealt 3 guys off the active roster, but rumors fly about Eloy, Jake Berger, T.A. Grandal, and even Middleton. It sounds like the White Sox did well for themselves in the trading game already, but only time will tell. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200, and you could spend betting everything from the money line to the over/under to who you think is going to hit their first home run. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. The White Sox face off against the Texas Rangers on Tuesday. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. So Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly dealt to the Loas Angeles Dodgers. Boy, if you saw any video of the fan reaction out in L.A. when Joe Kelly made his first appearance over the weekend, they were all kinds of excited to get Joe Kelly back. Good for them. Lynn had a 10-team no-trade clause with the Dodgers on it, but waived it. The White Sox received pitching prospects Nick Nastrini and Jordan Leisure, as well as outfielder Trace Thompson. Welcome back. Turning to the players going to Chicago, the headliner is Nastrini. This is what the experts are saying. A 4th-round pick of the Dodgers from 2021. He's already climbed to Double-A. The 23-year-old has made 17 starts at that level this year with a 4.03 ERA, striking out 26% of opponents with an 11% walk rate. Baseball America recently ranked him the number 10 prospect in the Dodgers system, while FanGraphs currently has him at number 6. Leisure, 24 years old, was a 14-round pick in 2021 and has been working exclusively in relief as a professional. He's pitched 35 innings out of the bullpen in Double-A this year with a 3.09 ERA, striking out 39.7% of opponents, but walking 11.3. Thompson, 32 years old, is an immediate big league option for the White Sox, or he will be once he returns from the injured list. He was drafted by the Sox back in 2009 and made his big league debut for them in 2015. He quickly went into journeyman status, bouncing to the Dodgers, back to the White Sox, the Athletics, the Cubs, Padres, and back to the Dodgers again, generally struggling in most of those opportunities. Thompson began a rehab assignment a week ago, or should be able to join the Sox in the near future. He's making $8.45 million this year and can be retained via arbitration for 2 more seasons after this one. Takes me back to those 2015 White Sox. Robin Ventura is still at the helm. Trace Thompson, his third go-around with the Southsiders. How about that? What are we going to do in the outfield? Looks like Thompson is going to have to compete with Colas and Gavin Sheets and what other person they put out of position out there in the corner outfield in spring training. Kendall Graveman went, back to Houston. How about that? This was the flurry of moves on Friday. In exchange for a season plus of Graveman, the Astros will part with the 25-year-old Corey Lee, whom they selected with the number 32 overall pick in the 2019 draft. The 23-year-old Lee made his MLB debut last year, but appeared in just 12 games and logged only 26 plate appearances. He went 4 for 25 with a pair of doubles, a walk, and 9 punch-outs during that time, though there's little to be gleaned from such a small sample of work in his debut campaign. Lee has power, but plenty of swing and miss in his game, both of which were on display in 2022 when he swatted 25 dingers, but fanned in 28.5% of his plate appearances. I'm sure he'll figure out the discipline with his White Sox coaching staff. He hasn't hit for much power in AAA this season, just 5 home runs, but has loped nearly 4 percentage points off that strikeout rate, and currently hitting 283, 328, 406 in parts of 3 AAA seasons. He's a 255, 313, 446 hitter. Defensively, Lee draws praises for an elite arm strength that's helped him nab 32% of would-be base thieves to this point in his professional career. Baseball America's latest scouting report, which pegged him 7th in Houston's system, credits him with an 80 grade arm, average framing ability and above average blocking skills. Fangraph's Eric Loganhagen currently ranks Lee as the game's number 75th prospect, putting a 70 grade on his arm strength and liking him to Austin Hedges earlier in his career. An elite defender with enough power to offset a well below average hit tool. So the Sox seem to be racking up catching depth, which is exactly what they needed. Anytime someone asked me from other hosts from different lockdown shows, hey, what would the Sox want back for this person, or what do the White Sox need? They absolutely needed catching depth, and we need some arms. We need to bolster our farm system in terms of pitchers. What did we have coming up when we had guys go down with injuries? We just didn't have those electric arms yet. I mean, there's some that Noah Schultz, who's a ways off, and some other guys that might be exciting in a few years. But nothing kind of immediate. And I don't know if, I don't think we got anybody quite like that in these Lynn, Kelly, Graveman deals. But we needed arms, and looks like we've got Trace Thompson now back too. Can Garrett Crochet be in the Sox rotation in 2024? Will the White Sox spend money in the offseason? I will pause as you finish laughing. And how bad has the attendance been this year at Sox Park? More on that in a moment. So Garrett Crochet wants to be a starter. Our old friend James Fegan, formerly of The Athletic, now doing some freelance work at the Chicago Sun-Times. Fegan had the article this past weekend. Can't miss a Fegan article. Lynn and Lucas Giolito are gone. Mike Clevenger, activated off the injured list on Saturday, is a pending free agent with a mutual option for 2024. Davis Martin will be rehabbing from Tommy John surgery into next season. And upper minors pitching prospects have been plagued by injuries and struggles too. Beyond Dylan Cease and Kopech, projecting the White Sox 2024 rotation is difficult. So much so that well-traveled Touki Toussaint, throwing 5 scoreless innings on Friday, has potential relevance for the future. I feel like I have the stuff to fulfill that role, Garrett Crochet said on Saturday. I just want the opportunity to do it. Fegan wrote, Crochet began his media session by clarifying that he intends to pitch again this season a muscle strain in his left shoulder, ended his rehab assignment prematurely this month and will keep him from throwing for another 2 or 3 weeks. In his first season back from Tommy John, Crochet has pitched only 10 innings for the White Sox with a 3.60 ERA, 11 walks, and 9 strikeouts. I feel like a starter's routine is a better routine for me based on the bumps and bruises that I've been happening to me in relief, Crochet said. I just want the opportunity to do it. If I can't, I'm more than willing to go back into the reliever role. That's been my dream from the start. I'd like to at least either prove to myself I can or can't, and then I can be at peace with that. And that's great. I love the confidence. I love he's just putting it out there. This is what I want. I'm not going to say no to myself. I'll let somebody else say no. But, with all the injuries and stuff that he has been going through this season, he has not been able to build up any arm strength. I mean, that's the thing. You've got to build yourself up. That happened with Chris Sale years ago when he was reliever and then starter. Maybe he could do it in the offseason. I mean, what kind of in-game action are you going to get to be able to do that? That's a whole process. And with all the injuries that you have, you're going to ramp yourself up. Maybe you're going to get a little too excited, ramp yourself up quickly. Are we dealing with maybe another arm injury when you get to that point? It seems like that's a great wish and that's a great hope, but I don't know what the timetable is for Garrett Crochet to be able to do that. Other rumors, again, with this deadline on Tuesday, this is from Bob Nightingale. The White Sox certainly could be major players in free agency this winter after shedding about $25 million in their 3 trades. Catcher Yasmani Grandal's $18.25 million salary is coming off the books after the season. We hear this every single year. I feel like maybe a year after the rebuild started, so like the offseason of 2018, which is when I think the Harper Machado stuff was going down, we kept hearing money's going to be spent. We're going to make a big splash. We're going to finish this thing off the right way. We were going to get what we need when the time comes. And it just never really happened. They spent money, but it was in weird ways and spent a ton of money on relievers. And, it just very odd how the money was allocated. So take that for what it's worth. I don't believe a word of it, but, I think Bob Nightingale is a mouthpiece for Jerry and the White Sox organization. And they want fans to know, hey, we're going to be spending. So if you're thinking about that 2024 season ticket package or how much money you should set aside for games next season, we're going to be spending. Don't you worry about that. We're going to be aggressive in the offseason. I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it. How's that? According to Bruce Levine of The Score, the Brewers and Marlins have both shown interest in outfielder Eloy Jimenez, who is under contract through at least the 2024 season and controllable through 2026 via 2 club option years. As right before I started recording this episode, there was a lot of rumors going on about Brewers checking in on Eloy Jimenez and even Jake Berger. So we'll see if anything comes of that. Also here from Nightingale, the White Sox are telling teams that ace Dylan Cease and left-handed reliever Aaron Bummer are off limits, but they would be willing to trade reliever Kenyon Middleton. They would listen to offers for shortstop Tim Anderson and will give away catcher Yasmani Grandal. Why Yasmani Grandal and even Elvis Andrus would be playing on this team, after the deadline, I have no idea. I think Andrus is probably a DFA. Maybe they can get something for Grandal. Somebody's looking for, a guy that, has showcased himself recently at first base. I wonder if that scout's asking, hey, can you get Grandal into first base? I'd like to see if he still has some range over there. And he's got the switch hitting bat. And he's had some more pop in that bat this year than last year. I don't see him slipping into a backstop role with another team this late in the year, but you never know. So I wouldn't mind Grandal being gone, and I think they got to part ways with Elvis Andrus. If you're looking to get guys, create this new culture that Pedro Grifol talks about, get some young guys. Give Zach Remillard a ton of playing time. Bring Lynn Sosa up if you can. I mean, he's been crushing the ball down on the farm. See what you have. Give some extended tryouts to some guys just to see what you have going into the offseason. Scouts who have watched the Dodgers Class AA Tulsa team love the White Sox return in the Giolito Lopez deal of starter Nick Nastrini, reliever Jordan Leisure, and outfielder Trace Thompson, believing that Nastrini could be a number 3 or number 4 starter, with Leisure being a solid middle or setup reliever. And the MLB, according to Nightingale, is enjoying a renaissance in attendance, climbing 9% more than a year ago, the highest increase since the great home run race of 1998. Of course, Sosa and McGuire. The largest increases: Philadelphia up 40%, Cleveland up 40%, Cincinnati, which makes sense, 38%, Tampa 31%, Pittsburgh, they started out hot this season, 30%. The only 2 teams with declining attendance, Washington Nationals, 13%, and our Chicago White Sox, 16%. It's understandable. Again, people will say to me, stop giving your money to Jerry Reinsdorf, stop supporting the team. And I kind of laugh, hey, you got to do it how you want to do it, fan how you want to fan. Some people go to games. A lot of people go to games because that's what you do in the summer. You take your family, you go see friends, connections you've made over the years, especially if you're season ticket holder and you get to know the people in your area. This is what you want to do. This is your hobby. This is your pastime. This is what you want to spend your time and money on, and you might not get that. You might not worry too much about the wins and losses. It's just like, hey, this is an experience. This is a social thing for me, and I'm going to continue to go. If you're trying to, really make a stance and show Jerry, maybe don't go. Don't give your money to Jerry. I don't know if Jerry actually is going to pay attention or listen. I don't really think he cares. I think he's got an ego. I think he doesn't want to be embarrassed. I don't know if he really cares about losing or not. I think he wants to make money. How much he gets hit by ticket sales, that's a big question. I don't know too much about that. I feel like he's doing all right, though. The Sox continue to be profitable, but interesting about how, with attendance being up everywhere, Sox and Nationals, they are the only teams declining in attendance. But it's not shocking, and I think it's going to be like that absolutely in 2024. Thank you so very much for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcasts. We are on Twitter at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Any questions or comments you have, Locked On Sox at gmail.com. Our Sox take on the Rangers on Tuesday. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Hey, thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. And hey, everydayers, you know who you are. On the next episode, I will recap what the Sox did or did not do on the eve of the trade deadline. Appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.